Well, here we are in Carpe Astra, and we're about a third of the way through. Gotten through the first 4 turns, we've got 6 more left to go. And we're beginning to see the tone of the game is a little bit changing. The pile of guild chits that's available is pretty much depleted, which means we're going to see more and more of these slander cards as opposed to the normal network cards. I still have to shuffle the network deck. It's unlikely for somebody to play a slander card and not pay the extra buck to get the chip that they take away, right? Because they're just setting it up for the next player otherwise. In a 2-player game, that might happen, and I think it did, just to hurt one person. In a game where somebody's running away from it, maybe it'll happen. But in general, people are going to want to gain something off of what they get. So we might see more passes as people are trying to gather up enough money that they can make the play they need to, get the card they want bonused in place, and also still have the extra buck to play, to take the chit. I don't know how much of an effect that is because, you know, each chit's a buck. So we may see less card play. That's all I guess I'm looking at. All right, onward. So Red did a redraw because they didn't have anything that matched this turn's card. That cost them a buck, which may not have been worth it because they got 2 cards, only one of which actually matched again. They managed to target this one and grab themselves a blue piece, got that buck, but it cost them another buck to trade things around. So they didn't gain anything here. Maybe they would have done better. The problem was they had this slander along with this. They couldn't play both. No way. Even though there's double matchup. That's just too hard, I think. So I think they gained about as much as they could with that. We'll go on to Black, who's also sitting on a pair of network cards. Hopefully they can match up fairly well. Red's going to get an additional card, and they're going to take a slander card. This probably means that they have to spend to discard cards again next time to get rid of that annoying network card. But we'll see. Maybe the network card can make it so that they avoid paying a slander, the buck to grab a slander token. Sometimes things work out well. So here's an interesting choice that you make early when you start expanding stuff in your own territory. Well, you make it easier for you to grab pips for the early part of the game, but now you're easier to slander. It feels kind of nice to not have anything adjacent. Of course, somebody could still play against you, but you've already set up lots of stuff near you and made yourself more vulnerable that way. In particular, Black was considering that and said, you know, it doesn't make sense anymore. At this point, it really doesn't. I'm going to play my cards and score both of these, no bonuses, but I'm going to end up doing it at the same price without adding to my location. So now one of the things that is interesting, Blue is playing for slander. They happen to have 2 cards that match. They're happy. They know they can do this, especially since there's double ups here on Black and Blue. Great. Now the who to target. There's 3 other players. One of them has 10, the other 2 have 9. So it seems like a little bit of an advantage. But on the other hand, one of the target areas is next to, he's already got that position. And this is the thing, you've got to kind of switch at this point. And instead of devoting yourself to building yourself up, you're devoting yourself to destroying someone. And that means you have to shift your locations. Now, in this case, it's going to be a hard choice because yellow, yeah, I've got this one. But beyond that, I don't have anything else set up that really helps me. Everything else is going to have to kind of shift, except maybe this piece. So what would I get? Maybe I'd place here. This would have to flip and I'd place. And then I'd have to place here. It would cost me a couple bucks to do that. Whereas over here against her, what could I do? Well, I'd place, place, place. That's 3, 4. Ooh, I don't get a coin that way. I think it's going to cost me more to attack her because I don't see a coin around. I've got one here, but then that's my blue. So I'm going to go for yellow, and we'll see how that works out. Let's look. We have the coin. we have to place on him. That's going to be 1. We're going to have to flip this. That cost me $1. Okay, what do I have now? I shift here. Okay, I have played my 2 free ones. Now I have black, coin, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'll have to pay 2 more bucks to jump over here to blue and red. I'm not going to be able to use this in my thing, so there's 2 more bucks. And now I've scored these, and oh, I hope he's got the right colors, right? He's got coin. I'm interested in coin. I'm going to take that. Yes, he's got black. That's another option. Do I want to take the 2 blacks instead? Those are kind of my choices here. I think I'd rather be tied for first in coin and second in blacks. Although there is still a coin there, political. I score 2 cards. These are both slander. I had to pay to take those though. Oh, painful. So when I score the first one, I get $1, and I spent that to take it. When I score the second one, I get $1. That's because of this, because it's got the blues, and I take one. So I'm good. I just don't get any additional cash here because slander's more expensive, and this is gone. And we'll move on to yellow's turn. But I wanted to show one slander in action, and he's assuming that he'll be slandering next time. And yellow had to pay a big $3 to reposition their cards, as well as $1 to draw cards to get a double play. Now their double play is going to give them $1 each for these cards because they each hold green on them. Great. And they get to slander red twice on these colors. And what are they going to take? Well, double green seems like the only option they really have. So they'll pull those. Paid for already? Buy the card. And now we're done with this one. Turn goes away. And flip a new one. It's not an immediate. So we're going to be on this one, which is an extra credit for these guys. Money is cool in a way better than cards, I think. Forgot to draw my cards. I'll take a pair of slanders here. Okay. Now the question here, of course, is really the only player who's positioned right now, maybe red, is black for maybe taking advantage of a non-slander card. We'll see. This piece is going to be tough to pick up the way things are going because of the way the slander takes precedence in this game. All right, take a little pause here. I gotta go someplace. How about that? Imagine that. All right. So red was in a position where they decided, based on their cards, to reposition almost entirely against the blue player. They might have been just as well off hitting yellow here, who's actually hitting their territory. But they went after the blue and ended up scoring these, taking a black and a blue, both of which were paid for by the card because of the cartels, essentially. But they spent $3 to reposition. That's a high price. Oh, one of those is a network. Crappies. I thought that was a slander card. Well, I'm not sure what to do except take the black back. They're not set up for that card. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, with 3, 4 different things used, they could not have scored it. So I'm just going to hit them for that, but I'm going to give them a buck back because they didn't have to go here. Oops. Very easy to get confused for me. Alright, so yeah, they got kind of screwed there because they would not have repositioned that hard. For this, they would have probably played against... Well, it was hard to get the coin. That was the thing. They were already in position here, but they didn't have an easy access to the coin. So they might have just gone for the positive and taken that last one. If... Nope. It wouldn't have done them any good. Great. Okay. See, they needed they need one of these to be that for this to work. This is just out there until somebody grabs a network card that has a coin, and I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, I should have done a repositioning, I guess. But it's too late now. Oh, I guess that's what I get for taking a break. On to black. And I screwed up again, this time with the black player. Great, huh? This is where the game gets really tough for me. Because I can figure out, can I make these work? And in this case, yes, I can make this set work. Great! I can make it work on red. Excellent. I have a slight bonus because I already had a piece there. Speaking of which, I get a buck back because I spent too many. I had a piece advantage there. Okay, fantastic. Now I play against him. And... Oops. I took the red. I got nothing here. I haven't successfully slandered. I'm going to play it for the buck if I can. I'm not sure if I can. Let's see. And, you know, if I hadn't walked away from the game, maybe it wouldn't dissolve. The abilities wouldn't have dissolved so quickly, but it really does take a lot in terms of juggling things. That's all it is. It's juggling things. It's spotting, can I get this? Do I have this? Do I have X? It's following this checklist. And this is a checklist which might be enjoyable to play. Maybe that's something for people who like to put together puzzles, for example. For me, though, it's an irritation, especially when I start failing, when I start fumbling it. If I'm in the perfect mood for it, great, but that doesn't happen too often. Well, let's keep looking. Okay, so gain support. For each network, you strip an opponent of the support of one of the guilds. Wait. Oh, you know, I've also forgotten this little rule, which is removing an opponent, removing a piece. So red comes off the board there. When you slander, you lose the piece that you placed there. Blue slandered here, they wouldn't be on the board there. I'm not sure if you can score a card if you can't get the score. It says to score, you must have an agent on the guild as well as an agent. You can score 1, 2, or more. Yeah, I think I can score the card and get the buck for having set it up, because I can't undo this. Now, I took the one chit, which comes for free because of the payment of the card, and made a screw up on the other one from what I played out. That means I'm going to get 2 new cards, which I'll take immediately, and then keep moving on. Okay, so blue passed their turn and took a couple bucks. They probably could have played one of these 2 cards, but, well, actually neither one's valuable this turn. They probably could have drawn cards and tried to see, but they might be able to play these 2 cards next turn and make book on them. So right now they would rather collect money and try to make this. They don't have the cash on hand. Red has this pile of cash, which is very powerful. For blue, they looked and said, or yellow, they looked and said, I can score this card and it's good this turn, and then next turn, well, maybe I'll have to drop my hand or something, I don't know. Or maybe I'll be waiting until out here. Well, but here's the problem. He doesn't have the money. He has $1. He could just grab locations. There's 2. Costs him 1 to get 1 more. And he doesn't have the little coin symbol. He needs another buck. He could hit red with that card. He could take something, but he doesn't have the cash. So he too is going to have to pass and grab a couple bucks. There's not much you can do about it at that point. Now we come to the end of the turn, of course. And we move to this next set of cards, which is indeed fixed in place. It's this one that's questionable, and this one doesn't cause a problem. All right, I'm going to load this up, warts and all. Let's see what we get.